Good afternoon. Chris Roper. I'd like to introduce you to CEWS, cost-effective water sampler. This is an inexpensive way to acquire a water sample, actually 3 of them, at depth. So using a phone app, I can set the depth that I want this unit to operate and take a sample. I can set it by depth or I can set it by time. Time's an interesting one because I can set it for ebb, slack, and flow tide, or before, during, and after an event, a spawn event. Or how it operates is there's plugs sitting in the plug carrier down here. The first plug is inserted into the tube, and there's a wire that runs from the top of the plug to the winch that's inside the pressure housing. 12-volt battery in here, rechargeable, and that provides our power. The unit's totally independent, so it can be set, lowered, or set and attached to a ROV or a manned submarine. So I'll set the depth for the sample to 3 different depths: 3 meters, 6 meters, and 9 meters of depth. There's a pressure transducer here that when it gets to 3 meters, turns on the winch, which lifts this first plug up into the column. The water directly below the plug follows the plug in. The second plug, which is attached to the same lift wire, enters the tube, and once inside, it's shut off. The optical sensor sees it and shuts off the winch. So we collect the first sample here, we lower to our next step, collect our second sample, which moves our first sample to midpoint, and then finally to our final third depth, which then we have 1, 2, and 3 samples, or first sample, second sample, third sample. I'll run it manually so you can see it operate. So this is a simulation of going to 3 meters. We're lowering with the rope, which I've marked to simulate 3 meters, or to show me that it's at 3 meters, because I don't have any feedback. And the pressure transducer comes on and lifts the winch, lifts the plug up into the tube, and the water directly below the tube follows. The second plug enters, and once it enters, the optical sensor sees the plug enter and shuts off the winch. So we've collected sample number 1, and now we would lower the unit to the next sample depth, which would be 6 feet, or 6 meters, excuse me, and I've marked my line at 6 meters from the tip of the barrel so that I can stop it at 6 meters, and the pressure transducer will then turn on the winch once it recognizes the 6 meter mark. So we're at 6 meters. Pressure transducer turns on the winch lifts the plug lifts the water, and we bring the unit up to capture the second sample, which is our second sample at depth. So we have 3 meters, 6 meters, and now we're going to lower to 9 meters and capture our third sample, third and final at 9 meters, which is operating now. And there we've captured our final sample. So now we have 3 samples: sample number 1, sample number 2, and sample number 3. We have a little bit of air in here because I lifted this plug a little bit high and got it out of the water during the demonstration. In normal operation, there would not be any air in here. Now we can disconnect here, remove our tube, take it to the laboratory, analyze our water. So that's a low-cost, simple way to capture water at depth, being 3 meter water, 6 meter water, and 9 meter water. Thank you. Chris Roper. Have a great day.